I had such a great experience on my first film that I thought, oh, this is really interesting. I want to do more of it. I was always getting up very early and writing my own music. It's all about the relationships you have with the other creative people. I think if you want to work in Hollywood, you have to be in Hollywood. My career path was as an orchestral musician to begin with, and I even performed in Berlin with the Berlin Opera and a group called Genesis Musicalis. So I performed at the Philharmonie, the Schauspielhaus, with a lot other different orchestras in Italy and Spoleto, and I had a path. I thought I was going to be an orchestral musician, but I always had a real desire to write my own music. And so I basically started writing for my own Latin jazz group. I wrote all my arrangements by hand, and I was always listening and a lot of improvising at the piano and percussion. And so I found that I really loved to write. And I took a chance and moved to LA. I didn't know anyone, and basically started working as a freelance musician here in LA and started getting writing for theater. I was a music director, and I also had my own group, and I was performing. And through that, all those connections, writing for theater, which is telling a story, I got asked to do my first film. And I had such a great experience on my first film that I thought, oh, this is really interesting. I want to do more of it. So I kept writing, did a lot of independent film and some television shows. But the real leap for me when it came to film scoring was working alongside John Powell, because he is a fantastic musician. He was my mentor. I worked with him for many years. And through him, I met Hans Zimmer. And I was able to work with the two of them on all the Kung Fu Panda projects. And with John, I worked on 35 features, which was a great experience. And at that time, that's how I learned to program and, work fast. I did a lot of orchestration and some additional music and producing for him as well. So basically, the question of how did you get to be where you are? While I was working as an assistant, I was always getting up very early and writing my own music. And so my advice would be to create your own work while you're doing those things that help you get ahead. And get up really early, write as much as possible, and meet filmmakers, because meeting filmmakers is it's all about the relationships you have with the other creative people. And so work on as much material as you can, shorts and independent films and games, and do what it takes to develop your writing skills so that when you do get a big, opportunity, you're ready. And you should have all of your sounds and your gear, have it figured out. Don't figure it out when you get your first gig, because by then it's too late. You have to have lots of practice. And I think the main advice I would give is that it's great to have a mentor. Having a mentor helps because you learn how it's done, and the stakes aren't as high because you're not the person in the hot seat. And so watching other people, listening, and, putting all your effort into becoming an original composer and artist, because we all have the same sound, libraries. And it's what you do with them that makes your voice unique. And so I that would be my advice. And, live in a place where you meet other people. And, I'm sure Berlin, London, LA, New York. I mean, I personally moved here because I knew there was work here. So that would be my advice. And I'm sure that there's many opportunities, and even though you may not have a gig writing, just work on writing for your own personal library, because there's ups and downs as a composer. Sometimes you're super busy, and sometimes you're like, oh, the phone's not ringing. Well, then that's a good time to work on your own personal library. Well, I think if you want to work in Hollywood, you have to be in Hollywood unless you're, somebody who's been established and then can move away. But to get established as a film composer in the United States, I think you have a few choices, LA and New York. I mean, some people live in Nashville, some people who are artists live in small places, in small rural areas and come back. But, there's a lot going on in LA, and that's the easiest way to meet people in the business. But that doesn't mean you can't have a film career in Europe. I mean, people have film careers in, Paris and Berlin and all kinds of other cities. But, Hollywood specific, if you want to work in Hollywood, I think you have to at least spend some time here. Unless you're, a pop artist who has a really big name and they call you and you can come back and forth. But in general, I think the majority of film composers, even if they may live in another city, they still spend some time here. Well, one thing is having the template made beforehand, when the show is, before it has started and you're going to work on it, creating a template of all your sounds that you think are going to be in the right, mode or tone of that particular piece. And so that you've already got your cues, you have the sounds picked out, because I pretty much change my template for most of my pieces. I don't use the same template for every show to try and make it different. And so that helps. And then knowing the software, of course, how to use it, because you know what you have. It's like a toolbox. And I can grab that orchestral, harp beds for that bit. I can use this, and I've got these horns here, and you go right to them and you know where they are. And so routine of writing every day helps, because you just get into the flow of it. And then also when you have a deadline, you have to stop ruminating over and over about that melodic line or a chord change or something. You just have to get it out. And then also sketching things from beginning to the end without filling it in all the way. You get from A to B, you finish the cue, have an idea of what it's going to look like, and then go back and fill it in. Instead of, fully orchestrating the whole first 10 bars, and then you've got, a minute and a half still left and you haven't, finished. So having the idea, thinking it through, the big picture, then coming back, and it's kind of like painting and through the entire cue. Well, my day is structured that I come here fairly early, anywhere from, when I really am on a schedule, sometimes I'm here at 5 a.m, but, on a routine, it might be 7:30, start writing and do my best to stay off of emails and, just focus on writing. I like to start by just playing some Bach on the piano or something to just get my mind, just to get in that world of just music and shutting everything else out. And then I have a list, of what cues I have to do for the day. If I'm in production, I have to say, okay, I have to get through this many cues today, or I have to finish this big, long cue. I have to get from here to here. And so I actually put alarms on my phone and I'll say, okay, I'm trying to finish this cue in 3 hours. And I put an alarm and it says next cue and it goes off, and I may or may not be finished, but it's just trying to give myself little, nudges to keep going and not get stuck on things. So that's pretty much my day. And then I try not to even look at emails until lunch or something. And just keep going, and endurance. Sometimes I walk before I swim. I think endurance is an important part of being a film composer, because we sit in the chair for so long that it's important to move the body And those are things that I've done to help myself have that endurance, because sometimes can be very long days. I basically might play with a new sound. Sometimes I might get an idea just from a sound. I'll look at, or I'll throw in, I'll try and do something different. I might put it down and go to something else and come back to that if I feel like nothing's coming, but sometimes when you have a deadline, you don't have that luxury. You just have to keep going. So I might, take a break, have a cup of tea, and then come back to it with a fresh start. But also, I think trying different textures and different instruments, ideas on that helps. And then sometimes it might be, maybe you should just change the tempo of that. Maybe I'm trying to do something too slow and it's just not working with that scene. So, or listen to music. Just listen to some music you like to get yourself out of that idea that, it's not coming. Because if you're thinking about that, you're not thinking about the music. So it's sort of a lot of mind tricks to keep yourself on track and not stuck and moving forward.